share to you guys so that it all looks good. Open this up. Okay, I think we're good to get started here. I did take some notes on things I wanted to talk about beforehand, because this is kind of for anyone really. You don't need a certain level of knowledge, because I'm just gonna hopefully go over everything. Okay, I should be streaming TF2 to Discord. Let me know if you guys can see that properly. I'm seeing someone asked what maps are in next season. I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure that it will be covered here, because I'm going to be covering maps that might never even get played again as well towards the end there. Okay, so first things first. What is a rollout? And let's hop into our first map here. Actually, no, we won't hop into our first map, but we will hop into process. So absolute first thing you do when you play sixes is a mid-fight. So making sure that you start off that mid-fight on the right foot is pretty important. And the very first thing you do to that effect is roll out. So there's what's called a heal order, which I'm not gonna worry about describing too much in detail right now, but what you should know is when the round starts, no one can move, but you can explosive jump. So the way the heal order goes from the Demoman's perspective is you get healed up to 260 full buff from your medic. You do a static jump closer to the spawn shutter while your medic is still healing you up, and you're going to get another 260 while you're close to the spawn shutter to then roll out. So how do you set up an environment to practice this? I am going to demonstrate some console commands. If you don't have console enabled, I believe it's in, oh, you know what, it's not in advanced options, it's in options, and then the advanced tab of options, enable developer console. Kind of confusing. Anyway, a good way to practice this is you first have to make sure that cheats are on, and that's SV_cheats1. You next have to enter this command, which is SV_allow_wait_command. Make sure that's set to 1. And what that does is it allows you to enter wait commands in the console, which, like, it'll make sense later. You have to make sure that TF_pre-round push from damage enable is 1. And what that does is it makes it so that when you can't run or move or anything, you can still explosive jump. And then you can bind this setting to any key you'd like. So bind your bind. For the purposes of demonstration, let's just bind it to, you know what, mouse 1. Which I'm going to change back to attack 1 in a second here. But what does this do? So MP restart game immediate. What that does is it just restarts the round. Wait. So it waits for 400 ticks probably. I'm not sure the unit there. And then hurt me -170. What that does is gives you a buff. So if I left click right now, oh, I need to actually find it. I left click right now, it resets, waits a little bit, and then I get that big buff. So with that, let me actually put this on. With that, what you can do, if you don't want to bind it to anything, you can just type those 3 commands in console. And what you'll notice is I can then static jump, and right as I'm about to start moving, I'm at that perfect 260 threshold, and it's like a perfect It's basically a recreation of what would be happening in game when you're getting healed properly in those circumstances. So it's a nice setup. I will post these commands, and you know what? I'll just put it in chat right now, so people watching the VOD can just copy and paste them. Does that look neat? It looks a little messy, I guess, but you get the picture. Okay, so what is next here? All right, so you know how to practice a rollout, or at least what commands to do. Of course, as well, if you want to hop into a map offline, then in the console you just type map and then the name of the map, and it'll load up a local map for you. Okay, so what is a rollout though? And like, what do you want out of it? So, of course, you and the other team are starting in spawn equidistant from the midpoint. So if, for example, you as the demo show up faster than the other team's demo, then that gives you an early positional advantage and just an early advantage going into that mid fight, which is nice because if you can just get an advantage by having a more consistent rollout, then that's great for you guys and you're more likely to win the mid off of that. So being fast is important. What's also important, in the same trend as trying to get that early advantage, is being healthy. So usually rollouts follow a route where there's a health pack at the end or health packs on the way, such that when you actually arrive on mid, you are still healthy enough to take that fight early on. Because again, if the other team's demo shows up a lot weaker, then they are going to have to play more passively, get healed up, and that gives you an early positional advantage in that mid fight. So being healthy at the end of the rollout is important. As well, avoiding fall damage to that effect is important. There are some rollouts I'll demonstrate where you do just kind of take fall damage usually, but more often than not, if you can avoid it, you probably should be avoiding it because that's just unnecessary damage that will make you less healthy on the mid. Consistency is very important. On process, I'm going to demonstrate a few different ways to start off the rollout. All of these, like the fastest is going to be, we'll talk about it later, but they're all completely viable options. It's a matter of consistency, where if one is technically slower because you have to walk all the way out, it's not going to matter because if you can do that more consistently than any other option, that's going to be more important for you. Also, you want to show up in the correct position. So you want to show up to the door that you want to show up, because again, with that early positional advantage in the mid fight. So usually the doors you're getting through are ones that not only have a health pack for the healthy reason, but also gives you a lot of vision on the mid so that you can shoot a lot of things early on. And if players try and get fast on you or anything, you can just be prepared for anything really because you can see everything. Okay, so that's what you want a rollout to look like. Now, two little minor things to go over before talking about or just demonstrating the rollouts is first and foremost what a crouch det is. So most of you are familiar with a sticky jump, just crouch, jump, and detonate at the same time, and that'll make you go some distance. But if you just crouch over the sticky without ever jumping and detonate, then you also get a jump. The crouch det has a strong upside and a strong downside. The big upside is that it's much more horizontal, so you can get a lot more horizontal speed, which is very nice in some circumstances where there's like a low ceiling. Like if I want to get through this doorway, I can do that with a crouch det, and it might be kind of hard with a normal sticky jump. But they cost more health than normal sticky jumps do typically. So for that reason, you want to avoid crouch detting when health comes into play or when it's just kind of unnecessary. But there's going to be some circumstances where a crouch det is worth going for, and I'll bring up when I'm crouch detting. Also, how close you are to the sticky does affect how much damage you take from it. So for some shorter jumps, you might not need to be directly on the sticky, and you might be able to mitigate some damage as a result there. I don't know the minimum damage you can take from a sticky, but as you can see, like just from those 3 jumps, they all gave different damage numbers. And having a good feel for minimizing that damage will also mitigate some of the damage you take on the rollout and make you show up healthier. Okay, all that out of the way, we're going to start off on Koth because the Koth rollouts are the least impactful. We're going to go, I think Final is the product version that people play. And yeah, so again, rollouts on Koth are kind of a little less relevant, but it does not matter. So I want to make sure that this is on. Make sure Cheats is on. I think Cheats stays on, but we'll make sure all that is on regardless. And we'll just do a quick little demonstration. You do your static jump, and typically you go to Cliff. And it's literally just that. You usually don't even need pack, and you're there. You can also roll out to other doors if you'd like. You can roll out main, but that works just as fine. Really doesn't matter. Very straightforward rollout. That's just how Koth goes. Now, onto Bagel. Looks like the most recent version is RC6. I suppose I can be checking out the chat as well here in Discord to see if there's any questions being asked. And it does not look like there are. Of course, guys, if you do have any questions, just post them in the lecture hall chat. I'll try and take a peek at it. Okay. For Bagel, it is a little more, there's more going on than on product, because you can hit some ramp slides. To ramp slide, you just need enough horizontal speed, and usually hitting the ramp head on helps you slide. So sticky on the side, you can potentially hit a ramp slide here, and we'll actually just do our command just to demonstrate. I didn't hit the ramp slide there, it's whatever. Another sticky jump over to this, and you're here. This is pretty much the only rollout I see anyone do. I think it's possible to roll out to Boiler here, which you would presumably just jump through, take this pack instead, but I much prefer rolling out Concrete, and that's what I'd recommend. But yeah, another straightforward Koth. Okay. And then the last Koth, Clear Cut. This is actually I'd say the most complex of them, because you go the furthest distance. Product and Bagel, of course, are very compact maps. Clear Cut's a little more spread out, but it is still a Koth at the end of the day. So the one tricky thing about Clear Cut is, so first of all, I usually roll out right side. Well, I exclusively roll out right side. You can roll out left, I believe, and try and get to this pack. I'd imagine that some of those ramp surfaces you could use to your advantage, but I roll out right side, and the main thing you're looking for is a ramp slide on this, and the way to do that is with a sticky on the side, and you want it kind of high up, because you want to make sure that your head clears this. So that would look a little something like this. Do the static jump. Nice little ramp slide. Get the pack if you need it. A lot of the time you won't even need the pack, like right now. I don't need it. And yeah, you're here on mid. Full HP. Pretty normal time. And that's it for Koth. Those are all very simple rollouts. Now on to 5CP. And we're going to begin with process. So process has, I'd say 2 rollouts. The one you're going to be doing pretty much all the time is just the standard process rollout. Now, I did talk about the different placements early on. I think the fastest and healthiest way to do it is a sticky on the spawn shutter, but it is a little bit of a tight strafe because there's this head check that you have to clear, and then you have to strafe out of the way of that wall. But oh, I will mess up rollouts, by the way, recording this, so be kind. But the objective is, of course, to hit the ramp slide there. You won't usually need this pack. And then once you get to bats, a sticky, I'd say like that's about maybe like not quite shoulder height. The objective is to try and hit a ramp slide and choke, and then you're at mid. One thing to note here, let me actually get some health here so I can jump around. A lot of people struggle with this ramp slide and choke because they try and take it like too directly, where they're just kind of landing in the choke. If you practice going out a little bit and then curving in, then you might get more success. Of course, going faster as well makes it easier to hit the ramp slide. But there are some times, yeah, I like strafe all the way out there. Depending on how fast you go, you might want to do that just to get a little more consistent with it. Okay, so we'll put that all together first of all. So static jump and spawn. And you want to start charging your stickies a little earlier, just so you can have a pretty well-charged sticky by the time you're peaking, and maybe close that gap. Okay, before we move on to what's called the Cadus rollout, I am going to quickly talk about the other early sticky placements here you can choose. So, you can put a sticky on the floor and crouch dead it, and that's very consistent, but it's going to cost you some health, as opposed to the spawn shutter, which is going to use less health. But those are probably the same kind of speed, roughly speaking. So it's just a matter of which is more consistent. And if you're struggling with consistency on either of those, then you can just put it on the pillar and then walk out here. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. But it's going to cost you like maybe a quarter of a second or a half a second because you have to walk out to the pillar. Okay, now for the Cadus rollout, let's see if I can do this first try. This is a very aggressive rollout and not one that people really do much, but there's a crouch det on bats, and then an air sticky in front of choke to really send yourself forward on this ramp slide to right over to the pack. Not really something I'd recommend, but something I figure I may as well demonstrate. This might kill me. No, it did not. But yeah, that's the Cadus rollout. Standard process rollout, really all you have to focus on, though, in my opinion. Okay, next map is Gully Wash. Looks like F9 is, oops, F9 I think is the most current version. And I would love to be listening to music right now, but I want to make sure that the VOD does not get muted at any sections or anything like that, just so that people can rewatch it appropriately. So, Gully Wash, there's two places you can roll out, either choke or big door. Choke is where you're rolling out most of the time, and you're rolling out choke most of the time, and that's like the standard way to roll out for your mid. If you're rolling out big door, it's because you intend, I can even show you guys the mid. Can I get some health here? So, if you're rolling out big door, then it's because you're planning on playing the other team's side with a very aggressive, fast mid. And that's oftentimes, like, there's some surprise factor element to that as well, to make it more effective. If you do it all the time, then it's probably less effective. Rolling out choke is kind of the standard. And yeah, let's demonstrate the choke rollout first. So you want to get a sticky like kind of on that line. Ooh, that is... Okay, I can't talk and do it at the same time. You want a sticky like roughly there. Yeah, maybe a little below the line. Because you want to land here in launch pad. Shooting a sticky here, which you then... I don't have the health to do it, but you jump to shutter. Another sticky shutter takes you over to choke. And you want to avoid fall damage here, especially because you can make it this full distance without taking fall damage. So we'll put all the pieces together here. Keep in mind too, the sooner you fire these stickies as well, like the faster the rollout's gonna be. So you can see, like, I really want to have these stickies down as soon as possible. Charge your sticky, shoot it in big door, and you're good to go. Now, the big door rollout, much simpler. You shoot the sticky higher on the pillar, because you want to land here in main, and then you just walk. And that's all. You can yoink the ammo if you want, doesn't matter. And attack the other team's choke. But yeah, that's it for Gully Wash. Now, what was next on my list? Metalworks. Okay. So Metalworks is another map where getting those stickies on the floor faster is actually going to make a tangible difference in the time you roll out. So keep that in mind. Have some speed there. The rollout is effectively the same, regardless of what door you roll out. Effectively, whoops, I want to delete this, enter this. I should just have no clip enabled just to show the mid. So the places you roll out as a demo are either main or choke / lunchbox, whatever you call this, to either get some early spam there while you're a little more isolated from your team, or just a more standard centralized position where you can kind of shoot everything. Choice is yours. You can mix it up on different mids, and if you roll out choke, you can get your initial damage there and rotate over to this positioning if you'd like. Metalworks rollout. There's a couple variations. The one I've been doing is sticky there. Gets you to the shutter. Another jump from the shutter. And you can choose to use an extra sticky here or just walk it. The choice is yours. But sometimes if their demo's pretty fast to roll out choke, then this might already be like stickied off a bit, and showing up earlier might help you a lot. So the extra sticky in-house is really up to you, but pretty straightforward stuff. Another thing to note is the static jump. You don't want to go too far, because the jump I did earlier over here, my medic would not be able to heal me anymore, and I wouldn't get that full secondary buff. So something to note. As well, I've seen demos, and I used to do this myself as well, instead of the sticky here and then jumping that way, would walk through secret here and put the sticky on that wall, which, as you can see, is a little less consistent, just because getting those like stickies to land on the right-handed side of the wall can be a little tricky, especially when you're like shooting from the back, which is why I prefer just getting it on the floor here. So we'll do that one more time. Just put all the pieces together. This is still close enough for my medic to be healing me. I got that full buff. And this time we're going to opt not to use that extra sticky, so we can show up a little bit healthier. Get that first sticky and choke. Okay. Now, let us go over the next map, which is Snakewater. Fun stuff. Snakewater Final 1. So there's a few options for Snakewater. Again, this is one of those rollouts that I see demos taking fall damage a lot of the time where they really don't need to, especially off of that first sticky in spawn. So you do your static jump. Let's get some health here. I usually aim for about where that line is at, honestly. Yeah, I think about where the paint meets the different colors. And that's actually Maybe a little high. I mean, obviously you just saw that was totally adequate. There's just times that I aim to hit this ramp slide here, because sometimes if you hit it really nice, you can land kind of deep in lobby. Very minor optimization. I just hit 2 edge bugs in a row. Minor optimization, does not matter a ton. The main thing here is that you're landing... I have 3 edge bugs in a row. I am built different. The main point is that you're not taking fall damage in this jump, because some people go really high with it when you really don't need to. You're going to get the same distance otherwise and be fine. So from here, you have a few options. So you either want to roll out lower or you want to roll out saw. If you want to roll out lower, then... I didn't even practice this beforehand. I actually pressed S there when I shouldn't have. This pallet is actually surfable, and you can use that as a means to avoid fall damage. So, let's see if I can't demonstrate this. Just landing on that, avoid fall damage, get your pack, fight the mid. As far as rolling out saw goes, the way most people do it is kind of a high up sticky on the wall there, because you want to hit this ramp slide. Can't tell I did not practice this either. Because you want to hit this ramp slide, and if you hit it quite nice, you can land pretty deep in here if you strafe correctly. So this is the standard way to do it. Yeah, you can see you land pretty deep in there. The way I roll out on Snake Water is with a crouch det through cheese here, right around the corner, and typically try not to land there and slow down. See if I can't demonstrate a little better there. You land about as far, but for me it's a little more consistent to do it this way, and yeah, I just like it. You can also ramp slide there. It's just a consistent way to do it if you can crouch det and have a good feeling for that. Also, when you're rolling out saw, you have the option to use an extra sticky in the saw. You're not gonna be full health after this pack, but it does let you show up a little bit sooner. And on Snake, demos show up much sooner than the rest of the team, so that early advantage might be quite nice, but it really is up to you. So let's go ahead, use this command, and actually demonstrate each of them. Yeah, I guess I do kind of aim at the paint. So didn't hit the ramp slide here, that's fine. Ooh, I really messed that one up. You know what, we're going to do that again. Right after I talk about how that's more consistent for me.
Let's do it!
Oh, man. There we go. I'm going to do the extra one here, and then I'm at mid. Now let's try the other saw rollout. And we'll opt to not use any extra stickies here. We show up to mid, and finally we'll do the rollout lower. And we hit the ramp slide this time. Still took fall damage there. Actually, the fall damage did not matter. I'm still full HP. Okay, that is that for Snake Water. Now let's see what's next. Sunshine. Okay. Sunshine also has a couple rollouts. And Sunshine has, in my opinion, the hardest rollout to hit consistently. So, Sunshine mid, you can roll out 2 different doors. You can either roll out Choke, or you can roll out Valley. Valley is oftentimes safer, I'd say. Choke, you're pretty vulnerable to a fast soldier bomb. Plus, you're not very healthy. You'll notice there's no health packs in Choke at all. So you show up not that healthy, and even taking like one decent sticky from the other team's demo early on makes it very uncomfortable to play. So choke is totally fine, and actually probably necessary if you want to meet the other team right-sided on Sunshine mid. But if you plan to play left, then Valley is oftentimes safer and more consistent. And I kind of just default roll out Valley, but again, it's really up to you. So, why is the choke rollout so inconsistent? Because it has that weird kind of wall you have to shoot at. So the basic rollout is you try and hit the ramp slide here, and then on bats, if you're rolling out choke, a sticky here is the best way to do it, and you want to hit the ramp slide choke, and that's the hard part for most people. I think you might be able to crouch dead this. Yeah, it seems like you kind of can. I don't know how easy the ramp slide is going to be to hit with a crouch dead, but again, you are taking more damage to crouch dead that, and choke on Sunshine is already such a health sensitive rollout. Regardless though, that's the choke rollout, usually with a sticky on the edge here that's like kind of hanging off so you can get the backside of it and get enough speed to ramp slide. The other rollout is Valley. You can just do a normal jump over this fence, land on the pack with fall damage, or if you're good with crouch debts, then you can go under. And I mean good with crouch debts because this is a little finicky and you need some pretty decent crouch debts to do this consistently, but you can go under it and through, which is a little bit faster and you avoid the fall damage. Let me actually just demonstrate that correctly for once here. This has a little bit of walking, but if you really nuke it, then you can land like right on the pack. So with those mentioned, let's demonstrate the choke rollout first. Okay, and let's do Valley, and we'll try and crouch at this.
Come on!
So that's a little slow. I have to do a little bit of walking, but yeah, those are the rollouts on Sunshine. Of course, you don't have to crouch dead to get into Valley. You can just jump over. Next is Sultry. Okay. Alright, full disclosure, I've actually never played Sultry. But I did look up the rollout, and by that I mean like I watched demos of good players playing the map in serious settings, and it goes a little like this. So first of all, you roll out left side. Sticky here is going to be faster if you can get that, because otherwise, like a sticky on this wall, there's some time where you have to walk over here, which wastes a little bit of time. But regardless, you want to jump into lobby, use another sticky lobby to jump over to shutter, and then from shutter, jump into cheese. I jumped too high on pretty much all of those because there's some like head checks that you need to clear. So keeping stuff low helps here. I think you can also roll out Frog with potential ramp slide there, which was something I was trying out. I didn't see anyone do this. I don't know if it's something you even do, because the rollout I was watching was actually an older version of Sultry. Probably a lower sticky on the wall there. Makes that easier. Regardless though, Frog also has a health pack in it. I don't think choke is a good option because from what I was seeing, there just is not a good health pack here. You're going to be quite weak, and also it just doesn't give you good vision. If you were trying to play right-sided, then you may as well roll out Frog, and if you were trying to play like kind of centralized left-sided here, then you would just roll out Cheese. But let's see if we can't demonstrate a little rollout here. So I do have plenty of time to line this up, so I can do that. Get to land inside Cheese, and here we go. And we'll try some at Frog, but I didn't really practice this at all. Okay, I can't really line that up, so we're going to use the other wall. that. We hit the ramp slide. There's our pack. I don't know if this is even somewhere that demos roll out, but it looked like a place you could roll out if you wanted to. So maybe people who know more about Sultry could tell me. But that is it for Sultry. And you'll notice now we're really moving into some maps that aren't regularly in the pool. Especially towards the end, it's some like experimental maps. I kind of wanted to future-proof this VOD just so that people that might be in other, what's the word I'm looking for? In other regions could do this, because some of these maps are more common in other regions. But next on the list is Granary. We're going to do Pro RC8, which is what we play in North America. Granary is an old map. There's two places you can roll out. You can roll out Choke to get an early health pack, or you roll out Catwalk to get much better positioning and height. So we're going to just go over here and show where. The main split happens with this jump here in the shutter. Because if you want to go Choke, that's over there. And if you want to go Catwalk, that's up here. And you can see up here you have really great height. You can shoot a lot of things from here. But if you roll out Choke, then you have this nice health pack and you're going to be healthier. But let's quick just cover this. This also looks like one where it's easy to jump past your medic, so be careful. So you want to clear that fence. This here is a crouch step to grab this pack during the rollout. And then either land up here or in Choke. And then you're here. And then we'll do the same thing again for the Choke rollout. I think this sticky should be a little low on the wall. And if you're worried you're going to take fall damage, you might be able to even land on the fence to avoid the fall damage. So I did crunch a little bit there, but you can see 103. This is going to give me 88 health, which is more than enough. So I could have taken even more damage there. Maybe if fit in another sticky jump. I don't know. I don't want to get too into it. But that's Granary. We covered that. Next, another ancient map. Let's take it over to Badlands. A map that might never get played again in RGL. But we'll cover the rollout regardless. So, there's really only one rollout I know of that gets used, and we're just gonna... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We'll reload the map. And there's also a Banny video actually on this map in particular, his old Death Merchant University series, which has some nice graphics kind of demonstrating what you want to get out of the stickies. But we're just going to demonstrate this. Oh, this is what happens when when the allow wait command gets set to 0, right? I think that was the problem. Yeah. So this sticky should be pretty high, because you want to clear all that. You want to just thread the needle here, hit that ramp slide, and then off of drop down, get that sticky there, and you show up to mid. I'll show it again. It's a lot of head checks, just barely clearing stuff. Yeah, you can see I bonked my head on there. Very easy to bonk your head here and avoid a ramp slide, or bonk your head here. That sticky on the floor to hit the ramp slide is probably the hardest part. Oops. Do that again. As you can imagine, this is one I have not done in a long time either. Yeah, it's very easy to hit that ramp slide hit there. And then as far as drop down goes, just a sticky on the wall there, and then you don't even jump, you just walk out, crouch, and then have that sticky carry you. So we'll try this one more time, put all the pieces together. I guess the first attempt was the best, and I'm not gonna crunch. Okay, yeah, that's Badlands. On the first one as well, I missed the small health pack in, I think that's bats, which you should be taking. But that is Badlands. Now we're going to get into some of the newer maps. Reckoner. Reckoner has been played in RGL a few seasons. It's like a staple map, just regularly in the rotation in EU, I believe. And we're going to talk about it. So, you roll out the right side, and let me get some health here. And this area, at least in NA, gets called rollout, because it's where teams roll out typically. And I think if you crouched at, you can actually hit a nice ramp slide on this to land kind of deeper in cargo, which is what I default rolled out to when I played this map. If you want to play a very aggressive mid, then you can just have this crouched at take you lower, grab this pack, and then you're already like approaching their side for an aggressive mid, kind of like a their side mid gully wash. I have seen European demos roll out Toxic, where instead of going through rollout, honestly another sticky to get this pack seemed good to me, and then you're here. But let's put it all together. So we'll try the standard rollout first, and just a normal sticky jump from the floor seems adequate for this. Get a little ramp slide there, but that's that. Now we're gonna try rolling out lower for that very aggressive mid. Oh, the edge bug kind of messed me up there. Get the pack. And let's see if I can't conjure up a Toxic rollout. Oh, that was a little slow. But I find like the extra sticky there is actually quite nice if it's uncrouched, because it gives you just the perfect distance. Because uncrouched sticks give you a lot less distance than a crouched one, as you can see. So in that small space, the uncrouched seem nice. But those are the Reckoner rollouts that I know of. And what's next? Next up is Villa. Another map that has been played in RGL, but not in recent times. I believe B19. It's the most recent version I have. We'll see. I think this is the one that DM servers use, so it's probably the most up-to-date one. Okay. Now for Villa.
Hey, Demo, wake up. I've got a job for you.
You roll out the left side of the spawn. And the main thing you want to do, you can use an extra sticky in here if you want to be a little faster. And you can also hit a ramp slide there to land choke if you'd like. Likewise, I recall I played this map, last time I played this map was Season 6 some time ago. You could roll out books for some type of mid here. I don't know if that's still a viable rollout, but that would still just be a jump from here into here, and then grab the pack here. Simple stuff. Let's see if I can't put it all together. And of course, if you can shoot that the closer wall, then it's going to be a little bit faster. We'll try the extra sticky here. Hit the ramp slide, nice and fast. After pack, we're 156, pretty decent, considering we used an extra sticky there. And then if we were to roll out books, we may as well throw that in anyway. I'm not crouching that one, by the way, in the lobby area. And yeah, that's Villa. That extra sticky, not super necessary. Kind of gives you a lot to handle. So if it's more consistent, just walk. That's only going to cost you like a second or something. All right, next on the list, we have. Oops. CP man base. RC22A. Or RC2A. So, on man base, this is one I had to look up, and I actually could not see or could not find any high level players playing the most recent version, just from my cursory search. But you roll out this left side shutter. You want to land as deep in lobby here as possible. A crouch det really threads this needle nicely, without having to like hit your head or worry about, because you can see if I just jump, then my head hits the ceiling and I hit the floor sooner than I would if I just go for a crouch det, where I can land much closer to the pack and be faster. From here, honestly, a sticky on the wall I think worked best. You can hit this ramp slide. I may have even hit it with a crouch det in my testing, but it's a little finicky, and you can land pretty deep here and choke and play your mid. I don't think there's any other places you'd want to roll out. Again, I don't really play this game much, or this this map much, so to the best of my knowledge, choke is really the only place you roll out on man base. So we'll try and put that all together. Okay, and we'll try the crouch det. Oh, and we hit a nice little ramp slide. Of course, we'll just do this again without that crouch det at the end. Of course, still using the crouch det in lobby. And I think a lower sticky would probably land me deeper. No, that was pretty much exactly what I wanted. We'll just shoot that. We crunch a little bit, but health on this one I've noticed is not super relevant, because you can tell I just cratered there. I'm only missing 3 HP, which is not too bad. Okay, that is man base, and we're on to our final map here, which is Logjam. RC12F, I believe. Okay, so Logjam's actually an interesting rollout for demo. First of all, you show up pretty unhealthy. I was watching some Prem Oz Fortress demos playing this, and one of them was showing up with like 20 HP before getting the pack, which is scary, because if you catch an early sticky, like their demo's faster than you and hits an early sticky, you might just die first thing on the mid and just immediately lose. Anyway, you come out the right spawn shutter, and you just want to jump to this shutter. This is somewhere where you're gonna be taking fall damage pretty much all the time, but it does not matter, because there's a health pack waiting for you right here. And I'll actually pay attention to my health, because I don't know if you squeeze in another jump here or not. I think you do. You know what? We'll just take a peek right now. I had the command ready. There we go.
Hey, Demo, calling here. I'm at work.
So I wouldn't recommend going into the ceiling or anything, but yeah, you can see I landed there, cratered down to 175, 130 after the jump to the health pack. That's always, like, even if you take a ton of fall damage and like take a ton of damage on that other sticky, you're always going to get topped off by this health pack. So you're always going to be showing up in this doorway with full health. And then from this doorway, you can do a single pre, actually. So a single pre is sticky on the ground. You pre-fire another sticky, det the one on the ground when the pre-fired sticky is still arming, and then when you're in the range of the pre-fired sticky, you detonate that. Let's see if I can't just demonstrate to give an example. So as a result, this might be like the hardest rollout I can think of. Oops, missed the pack. You can ramp slide here. Oh, and I'm showing up real healthy as well. That's quite nice. Of course, single pre's are a little more advanced jumping tech than your standard rollout calls for. So if you're bad at that, then just 2 stickies is probably more than enough. You're gonna show up weaker and slower than the single pre, so it might be worth practicing if you're a if you're playing in a league with Logjam or a cup or something. But definitely an opportunity. And also, keep in mind here for the single pre, crouch debts are usually the most consistent way to go into pre-stickies, just because they give a very like consistent distance and height that's very predictable. But if you are consistent enough with them, then you can just do a standard sticky jump, and it costs a little less health. So something to keep in mind. But that seems to be Logjam. And with that, that covers every single map that I could think of being actually played. We don't have Yukon or anything like that. Those maps are never coming back. Even Badlands is kind of, you may as well, just in case. But yeah, every map I can think of just got covered there. With some detail, like what jumps are crouch deaded. I didn't explain like what kind of distance and height you're trying to get on every single sticky, like some of the Banny Death Merchant University videos cover. Just because that would be too much, and just showing what's happening like can give you a decent feel for what you might try and do to replicate it. Anyway, let's not prolong this too much longer here. We finished up all my notes, and yeah, so I'll cut that here, post the VOD, and yeah, hopefully it's a good resource for people in the future.